texts and messages from all over the world, quite honestly, here at KMOX, and many of them are, this time of year, love to say something about their mom. So certainly if you want to leave a comment on our live stream or text in, whatever you want to do, Drew Young, our producer, will navigate that and manage that for us. But happy Mother's Day to all. It really is a great day. Let's do this. Let's do 3 different reports on 3 different teams representing the St. Louis area. And let's start with the St. Louis Cardinals.
The Redbird Recap is sponsored by Helitech Waterproofing and Foundation Repair. Heal your home with Helitech.
It was another fun game for the Cardinals yesterday, but they dropped it to the Padres by a score of 4-2. The Cardinals had won the first 2 games of the series. They had a 8-game over 500 record going with the 23-15 record, and they had won 6 straight games on the road, but the Padres were able to get some offense from their all-stars. It was Manny Machado homering late in the game, but Fernando Tatis delivered a 2-run single in a 3-run 5th inning, and that was really the big hit of the game, the difference maker. On the Cardinals side, Dustin May pitched well, but he picked up the loss, a quality start, but he drops to 3-4, and it was Randy Vasquez getting the win. Mason Miller came on to pick up the save, his 12th. He had to work hard in the 9th inning. The Cardinals loaded the bases against him as he walked a couple of batters, but he did pick up the save, and the Padres take the game. This afternoon, it's Kyle Leahy and Walker Buehler. We hope you'll join us. This is Ricky Horton with the Redbird Recap.
Ricky, now let's go to some minor league baseball.
The Gateway Grizzlies dropped the finale of their 3-game series in Mississippi to open up 2026, 9-4 against the Mississippi Mud Monsters on Saturday night. With an update on KMOX Sports for the Gateway Grizzlies, I'm voice of the Grizzlies, Jason Garrett. For the second night in a row, Gateway fought back from a 2-0 early deficit to tie the score at 2 in the top of the third, but allowed 5 runs in the bottom half as Mississippi batted around, aided by 4 Gateway Grizzlies walks from the pitching staff to take command of the contest. The Grizzlies would get within 3 with a 2-run 7th, but gave both runs back in the bottom of the 7th for the final score. Gateway next heads home for their home opener at Arsenal BG Ballpark in Sauget against the Joliet Slammers at 6:30 Central Time on Tuesday night, May 12th. And fans can tune in for all the action on the Grizzlies Media Network, powered by Odyssey.com and the free Odyssey app.
We're excited to bring both of those broadcasts to you in our family of networks, including soccer. Let's listen to this.
Oh, ball squeaks to Sangbin in all alone against the keeper. Sangbin dribbles up Sangbin. He shoots and scores! Oh, baby! Sangbin Jung! City lead!
Joey Zanaboni with the call on Y98 FM, and it was a good day for City. Here's Jen Cease.
St. Louis City SC picked up its first road win and first clean sheet of the MLS regular season Saturday night with a 1-0 victory over the Colorado Rapids. And it came from the fastest player on the roster. Songbin John made the most of his return to the starting lineup in the 26th minute, racing onto a long ball from Roman Berkey after the flick-on from Simon Betcher. And once Songbin got in behind the defense, nobody was catching him. Colorado went down a man after a red card in the 51st minute, but City had to grind through a physical finish after Chris Durkin was sent off in the 87th for a double yellow. Head coach Juan DeMay says after a difficult stretch, the result mattered.
Tonight it's about enjoying our first win of the road of the season and our first clean sheet of the season as well. So we take both. I take a deep breath and we'll focus on the things we need to do better tomorrow.
DeMay also confirmed that Sergio Cordova was a late scratch due to illness and Songbin was subbed at halftime for calf tightness. City returns home to host LAFC Wednesday night at Energizer Park in their second of 5 matches in a 15-day stretch. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Jen, thank you very much. Now to some national news. We are sad that Bobby Cox has passed away. The Braves Hall of Fame manager died Saturday in Marietta, Georgia. He was 84 years old. He had a stroke in 2019. Cox managed the Braves to prominence during the 1990s, the team's first championship in 1995. He took over a last-place team in June of 1990, and the next season led the Braves to a worst-to-first finish. Atlanta lost in the World Series that year to Minnesota in 7 games, but they were on the map at that point. That was the start of a record 14 consecutive division titles for Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves. He managed the Braves for 25 years. He retired after the 2010 season. He was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2014. I was absolutely honored to be there that day when he went into Cooperstown. He went in the same class as Tony La Russa and Joe Torre. as well as some of the most fantastic pitchers in the history of the game, two of whom pitched for him, Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux. It was a very special day to be around Bobby Cox, and for years to cover him as a reporter for the Cardinals, to be able to go into that clubhouse. And he was always so good to us, a real class act to be around, not to mention fiery and competitive. I mean, if you want to go YouTube some of the Bobby Cox videos of him chewing out umpires and getting the best advantage he possibly can for his team, they are something special. What I always admired about Bobby Cox was he was a winner. His teams won, and they won a lot, and he was consistently disciplined, very smart, and a great, great leader. One of the greatest managers ever. Bobby Cox has passed away at the age of 84. We're going to take a break. We'll update you on the Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, all that good stuff coming up here on the show. But we're going to get to golf next, and that's Dan Reardon. The PGA Championship is this week. It's about to start, the second major of the season. We'll talk to Dan about that. Then at 10:30, Josh Schertz, head coach of the St. Louis Billikens. Has he put together a class or what? It looks really good right now. 10:45, Blues CEO Chris Zimmerman. 11:15, City President Diego Gigliani. At 11:30, Cardinals President of Baseball Operations Chaim Bloom. We talk to all the big leaders on this show right here live between 10 and 12. Bernie Miklasz joins us at 11:45 to get his thoughts on what's happening with the Cardinals and otherwise. It's sports on a Sunday morning, the one, the only, and we will be back right after this.
Is your home showing symptoms of foundation issues? Your home's wet basement, dingy crawl space, musty smells, cracked walls, or unlevel concrete shouldn't be ignored. Helitech can help. Life happens in your home. You and your family deserve the best. Helitech offers proven solutions in waterproofing, drainage, concrete leveling, and foundation repair services. Contact us for a free inspection at helitechonline.com.
When the water's high, we'll keep your basement dry. Heal your home with Helitech.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep. Graybar does that.
Hey, Kevin Wheeler here for the FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX. For those of us that are, been around for a little bit, we're the veterans of FanDuel Sportsbook. We know how great it is, but if you haven't joined yet, right now is a great time because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So yeah, that you can turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets just for getting started, and FanDuel makes it easier to get closer to the action, whether it's player props on your favorite stars to all the tools that you need to back them up. It's everything you need. It's all in one app, so don't miss your shot. It's super easy, and you also get paid immediately when you win. Just head to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel is an official partner of the NBA. You get to play your game with FanDuel. Just remember, you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
For your best vision, visit the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. They're the doctors' doctors, and what that means is more than 250 doctors trust their eyes to the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranja Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. So you should trust your eyes to them as well. Doctors Birdie and Malhotra are also cornea surgeons. They're experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eyes, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, and yes, they do LASIK surgery as well. So do it today. Make an appointment with the doctors' doctors, the Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, and protect your sight. Call them at 314-966-5000. That's 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com. You can find Ophthalmology Associates at 12990 Manchester Road, just a half-mile west of 270 on eastbound Manchester. youridoc.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm, American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Great to be back with you. I kind of like how we did that in that first segment, just ripping off reports one after the other. We had baseball, we had soccer, we had a lot of stuff going on. There's just a great time of year for sports, and joining us right now to talk some golf is our KMOX senior golf editor, Dan Reardon, is back on Sports on a Sunday morning. I've had many people tell me they know it's summer or getting close or golf season when they hear Dan Reardon's voice on KMOX. It's great to hear you again.
Well, it's great to be heard, and very senior in terms of golf these days.
That was your 134th major. Do I have that right, at the Masters last month?
134th major, covered 132, and next week at the PGA, I'll be covering my 133rd.
That's
major.
a lot. That's a lot of majors. Well, before we talk about the PGA, can we talk about the hottest player on the planet right now? That's Cameron Young. You mentioned his name leading into the Masters, and he almost took it. He threatened the course record at Quail Hollow yesterday, settled for an 8 under 63, 2 shots behind Alex Fitzpatrick at the Truist Championship. Fitzpatrick at 14 under through 54 holes. This could be a fun little finish here.
Well, a couple of things about that. First of all, as far as Cameron Young is concerned, we have to remember that 10 months ago, he had never won a PGA Tour event. And now, Jim Nantz is sort of putting him ahead of Scotty Scheffler on his advanced list going into the PGA Championship. But the other thing, whenever I look at a golf tournament, I always look to see if there's a St. Louis connection. And this week at Quail Hollow, we have at the top of the leaderboard a really strong St. Louis connection because both Alex Fitzpatrick and Cam Young went to Wake Forest. And their coach at Wake Forest was this area's own Jerry Haas. And there's even a KMOX connection because Jerry Haas, when he was between playing tours, sat in on the KMOX Golf Show off and on over a period of time. So there's plenty of things for people in this area to root about, if for no other reason, one of the great guys in the game of golf. In fact, both of the brothers, we've got the 2 Fitzpatricks in this area. We have the 2 Haas's, and you don't have better representations in golf than Jerry and Jay Haas.
Why is St. Louis such a golf hotbed? When we think about the people who have come out of here, the discussion about golf, it's such a big part of our community.
Well, we have a lot of history going back in time. We can talk about BMW coming up. We can talk about the 2019 PGA. But, Ben Hogan won a major championship in St. Louis. Gene Littler won at St. Louis. Lee Trevino won in St. Louis. So we've had really good moments when big-time golf has been, and that's just mentioning the men. The other day I happened to be in the company of Ellen Port, who was honored with the Bob Jones Award. I got a chance to talk to Barbara Birkmeyer, who's won, I think, 5 or 6 state amateur championships in her lifetime. There's a lot of history that goes into this community, and I think we benefit from that.
Yeah, I agree. Boy, I wish I could have been at that Ellen Port celebration. I couldn't. I was out of town calling college softball for the Missouri Valley Conference, but, you can't be everywhere at once. I know this. I will be at the BMW Championship, and I can't wait for it. I still have very vivid memories of the 2018 PGA Championship. It's actually hard to believe that was 8 years ago, Dan.
Yeah, and we've actually hosted I think I said 2019, and we actually hosted the BMW Championship. I think it was 2008 when they were beset by rain. Hopefully we get good weather. We're in a good place on the calendar, warm enough to be comfortable, but dry enough, I think, for that time of the year.
What do you think about this PGA now? You're going to be headed there, and obviously it is one of the 4 majors. We give it a lot of attention, and rightfully so.
I'm excited this week because I'm going to a course that I've never been to before. I could talk about covering 133 majors, but the excitement in many cases was seeing a great golf course that I never dreamed I would get a chance to see. And this golf course goes back roughly 100 years. At this location, Aronimink is a Donald Ross golf course. It's gone through a number of revisions, and I think one of the things people should look for when they tune into the PGA Championship is the look at Aronimink is unique in the sense that Donald Ross, who claimed that may be his best work that he went into thinking he was going to create his best ever golf course, but it bunkers in a way that's unusual in today's game. Instead of a fairway bunker right and a fairway bunker left, they cluster the bunkers. There's 3, 4 grouped together in an area. And that's the defense this golf course is going to throw at the field. It's only 7,300 plus yards long, plays the par 70, not very severe terrain. The trees have been largely removed from the property. They will have wind on the afternoon, and with no wind and with no trees to block the wind, it will come into play in this championship. So I'm looking forward to a golf course that I've never seen.
That's a great point. That has to be exciting for you. If people don't know, that is in the Philadelphia area. And I don't know, what's the history there? I don't remember a lot of majors being played in Philadelphia.
Well, actually, the BMW Championship, I believe, was there not too long ago, but its landmark location is 1962. Gary Player won the PGA Championship at Aronimink, and then again going to the St. Louis connection in '92 when the PGA was at Belle Reve. The PGA the next year was supposed to be at Aronimink, but that was following the scandal involving memberships at private clubs and Aronimink at Shoal Creek. And Aronimink was one of those clubs that fell victim to that, and they no longer became a site for that '93 PGA Championship. It was replaced by Inverness, but it has a rich history. It's hosted the Senior PGA. It's hosted the KPMG. It's had tournaments. It just hasn't had a major in, 50 years, 60 years.
Who's the favorite to win it? Is it still Scotty Scheffler in everybody's book there?
Well, the last 3 times Scotty played, he lost the Masters by a stroke, he lost the playoff at Harbortown, and he lost at Doral by a stroke. And everybody has sort of forgotten that he's the number 1 player in the world and has been there for a long, long time. But I'll tell you what I'm thinking about with Scotty. Scotty right now is trying to do the best impersonation he can of Kentucky Derby winner Golden Tempo because he's given the field a lead and then tried to run them down in the stretch. And he won't be able to do that this week at Aronimink. I think the week off to be with the new child and be at home and clear his head a little bit will work to his advantage. But you mentioned Cam Young. He'll be a factor in that. Rory McIlroy showed a little weakness yesterday, maybe a little after effect of being a Masters champion. But you have a really good leaderboard. J.J. Spahn, even the trio from LIV. And I say the trio because it's easy to point to John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau. But keep in mind Tyrrell Hatton. He's played extremely well, contended in majors, just hasn't delivered, and he's one of those guys who is facing an uncertain future, and he'd like to lock up that future and be able to pick his own spots by winning a major championship.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on that for sure. And then the last thing you mentioned, the Live Tour, what's the future there, Dan? I mean, it was widely reported the last few weeks about a lot of its funding being pulled.
Its future is at best murky, more likely non-existent. They're going to have to find literally $1 billion to support that tour. The players, I looked at all the interviews that were playing in Virginia this week. All the questions were about the future. The players are unknown. And we know that eventually a Rahm and a DeChambeau. DeChambeau says he's going to go to YouTube and just do that and quit playing on tour. But those guys have uncertain futures. What really is unclear is what happens to the 2 or 3 really young talents that decided to go with LIV out of college and have no place to go at this point in time. But I think we could probably say that LIV is gone for good, but it will play out the string in 2006.
All right, good enough. Yeah, no, that's good, and I appreciate all of that. It's great to hear your insights. I can't wait until this major begins. We do have Quail Hollow today, and then they head to Philadelphia for Aronimink and the PGA Championship. Dan Reardon will be doing the same. Dan, thanks. Have a great day.
Enjoyed it, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
It's 10:27. Josh Schertz, head coach of the St. Louis Billikens, is next.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin.
Curative, that's a complex decision that involves what we call multidisciplinary care. So that involves a surgeon, a medical oncologist, radiation oncologist. So you need the expertise, and that's something that we have here at Siteman, especially geared for these esophageal cancer patients.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Visit siteman.washu.edu.
Hey, it's Matt and Leslie Holiday. When we got to St. Louis, it wasn't long before we started searching for a way to give back.
We visited Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, and we knew this is where we belonged.
Homers for Health has been going strong for 15 years and has made such an unbelievable impact on the hospital. I've won a World Series, but I consider the work we have done at Cardinal Glennon to be the greatest achievement.
Yes, your support truly makes a difference. Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audion Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98 with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure. Clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Mary Lynn texts in and says, Happy Mother's Day to all the dads out there who have all the mom duties, too. Thank you, Mary Lynn. That was a very nice text. We are joined by Josh Schertz, the head coach of the St. Louis Billikens. And I'll tell you what, those moms are important, aren't they? Especially you think of all your players, your son, all the things that happen in the game of basketball. Those moms are the number one fans, and they drive those kids from practice to game to game, don't they, Coach?
Absolutely. There's something about a mother's touch, a woman's touch on anything, and certainly the backbone for a lot of these kids. It's always that's my last resort. If a guy's messing up in class or any other way, it's always, hey, if this doesn't change, I'm about to call your mom. And it's amazing how quickly things change when you threaten to call their moms. For us, obviously, my wife Natalia, she's incredible, a huge part of what we do. And I've always thought, coaching is kind of like, if you do it right, it's kind of like being a step parent. You learn to love kids that are not biologically yours like they're biologically yours. And she sets such a great tone in that regard for our entire program, the way she kind of takes care of our players, staff, everybody there. There's no doubt that her impact is incredible, and there's a ton of women like that just do so much visible and invisible to make our lives better.
Happy Mother's Day to Natalia. And you make a great point about the moms in the lives of your players in your program, because you have to know everybody well, and you do. It is a family, and an ever-changing family in this climate right now in college basketball. You're changing over a lot, but, your team's interesting here. I want to get into this team a little bit, because I want to start from before you announced your portal class. You announced the returnees. I think a lot of people around the country were taken aback. They seemed like that was a lot of players to stay with one program, especially the way things go today.
Yeah, I think our biggest win of the off season was the 9 returners, right? I mean, I think that's, the corporate knowledge, the shared experiences. I've said many times, I think there's this, the mantra saying in coaching nowadays, get old, stay old. And I think there's validity to that. I also think what people neglect is getting old together is so much more valuable, accumulated mileage and corporate knowledge and understanding players, coaches, retention, the ability to get deeper into stuff because you have that shared experience. And so, everybody after the season, it's kind of the way it is. It's like an NBA free agency now. Everybody gets, obsessed with the external, the shiny new toys that are coming. But retention is overlooked in the spring and summer, and it's never more valuable than when the ball tips up in November through end of March, early April. So super excited about those guys, and it is unique, to have 9 guys back off a 29-win team, and to have 3 all-league guys come back, and certainly the 2 that weren't, Q and Ishan had plenty of chances to go, and all those guys decided this is where they want to be, and there's a lot of credit to go around for why that is.
Josh Schertz is with us, head coach at St. Louis University. So this portal class, you set out to get big. Sure looks like you did that. You have some length, you have some size, but these are not your traditional back-to-the-basket post players, all of them. I mean, I've seen some of these guys really run the floor, kind of the way the game is today.
Yeah, it's I think you go after, and you try to identify, the bigs. This market was unique. Bigs were first off, supply and demand. There's a scarcity of bigs. So the ones that really could help us, the competition was fierce. And it was expensive. And so, you have both those things you're balancing because you're balancing a budget, you're balancing tremendous competition. And you want to make sure you get it right. And we want to play a certain style. But again, I think it's I look at it more of like you get the players, then you bend the system to the strengths of the players, right? Not so much of, you have a system and the players have to fit into that. But I do think we did really well. As you said, we wanted to get more athletic. We wanted to get better rim protection. We wanted some vertical pressure on the rim, the ability to exert that. We really feel like we did. We think our mobility, and we didn't really sacrifice skill. I think, all 3 bigs in the portal that we brought in all have the ability to step out and shoot the basketball. All can play make at varying levels. And then with Sheik, there's a level of rim protection that I think is really unique. And you combine that with Jax Kerr, who I think is equally elite at protecting the rim. And we were able to address some needs alone. Elijah, proven at the high major level to be able to score the basketball. Elijah last 2 years, double digits in the ACC and SEC alone. First-year guy coming in, and I think has a lot of he's going to have a major impact as well. So, really excited about, where we are and what we were able to do and where it finished.
The first one reported, not officially announced by you, but the first one reported, I believe, was Alon McKaylee, who came from Colorado. And I immediately went to the video because I wanted to see him a little bit. I felt like he's got some bounce to him. I mean, he can really get up and down the floor, but it looks like he's somebody that can really bang inside too and get some rebounds for you.
Yeah, Alon's a guy, he comes over, he's played a lot of international ball. He played professional ball over in Israel, was terrific on their U18 and U20 teams, was leading scorer for Israel, comes over to Colorado. He got there late, didn't get there till almost September where he started. Still averages 7 and 4, had a little bit of ups and downs, but played 17 minutes a game in the Big 12. I think he's a better shooter than what he shot. I think he shot 28% from 3, but can shoot at a higher clip. I think he's got some playmaking skills that'll really be unlocked inside of what we do. Great mobility, 6'9". He's got a 7'2" wingspan. He guarded 5s for Colorado. We think he can obviously guard 5s in the A-10, but we also think he can slide down and has the versatility defensively in the feet to guard down. He rebounds the ball well. He's a guy that really drives it too. He presents that, in terms of he's really a tough matchup because he can post smalls, and then he's really, really quick. He's got great quickness to drive bigs. I thought there was a great versatility for him offensively, defensively, with the size, both standing height 6'9" and wingspan 7'2" to really be impactful on both ends of the floor.
You mentioned Elijah Strong out of South Carolina, so you get a good, solid SEC big there. Sheik Pearson, remind us now, because we saw him play in high school for Burroughs, but he was redshirted. I know Shaka Smart and Marquette was really excited to have him, but he didn't get the playing time there. Remind us about Sheik Pearson and what his attributes are.
Yeah, Sheik's a guy. I mean, he's every bit of 6'11", 7 feet tall. He's bulked up a little bit. He's probably, in the 215 range, 212 to 215. I think he went to college, under 200. He actually classed up to go to Marquette. He was top 40 player in the class of 2026. Classed up with the idea he was going to redshirt and go to Marquette. He did that. It went into a great program in terms of Marquette, a great player development program, working with Nevada Smith and those guys. And I think, he's a guy when you watch him with Brad Beal Elite, the mobility, hands, a rare archetype where he puts, he's a lob threat. He can make threes. He didn't, much in high school with BBE, but certainly has developed that part of his game. We think he can make spot threes as well. Rim protection is outstanding. Will be one of the top shot blockers, I think, certainly in our league in terms of the ability, the mobility, and the instincts and timing there. Rebounds the ball really, really well. Has great hands to play in the seams. I think he's a guy that has a future. And certainly he's got a lot of work to do. He's not a finished product, but there's no ceiling on what he can accomplish. His upside is unlimited because of the size, the mobility, the shooting, the rim protection, the lob threat. I mean, there's really not an aspect of the game you look at and go, he's deficient. He's got to get stronger. That would be the one thing, and I think, but he's physical. Even though he's not strong, he plays with good physicality, good toughness, and again, not accidental. BBE wins the 16 and 17s at Peach Jam, and he's the center for those teams and centerpiece of those teams.
And then finally, I wanted to ask you about Jamison White, who I can just hear it. There's some excitement about this player. It's somebody who has a local tie with Jahidi White, but also just in general, the player himself. We're talking about a very competitive individual.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Jamison's a guy we watched a ton. I've probably seen him more than any guy we've signed at St. Louis. We got here in 24. He was at the top of our radar, and I watched him a ton, and then really, started to fall in love with him in 25 in the summer, where I just saw, you kind of see it come together. People forget, he classed up to play with his brother, so he's going to start college at 17 years old. He's still just 17 and was 16 for some of his high school, senior year. But the size, he's already up to 6'9". He's 215 pounds. He's going to get stronger. He's really a guard, but he can play. He can guard 1 through 5 right now, which is rare. He has Amari's ability to guard all 5 positions. He was named, defensive MVP of the Peach Jam. Much like Sheik, there's a great winning pedigree, 2 state finals at Chaminade, a state championship last year at East St. Louis, 2, Peach Jam championships at AAU with BBE. Not coincidental those guys win. He was a 15-7 guy on the Peach Jam. He can make threes. He's a guy, again, a little bit like Sheik. There's an evolving skill set to where, he's just kind of scratching the surface. We never get guys who are finished products. There's always work to be done. And there's a lot of developmental work with him and Alone and Sheik and Elijah as well. But he's a guy that we're super excited about. I think, he's got the tools to be an ultimate Swiss Army knife. I think he's going to grow. I think he'll be 6'10", 6'11" by the time he's done with guard skills and the ability to guard already, like I said, walking the door 1 through 5 and an offensive game that's evolving. And as he gets in our player enhancement program, a guy that we think could take major steps forward this year and the years to come.
You just announced the freshman Yusuf Ahmad, and I think it's been like a year since Jermel Thomas committed to you. Magic Mel, who was a YouTube star way before any of this. So I'm fired up to see all of them. I really am. And you get going soon, right? I mean, it's next month.
Yeah, we first day of practice, June 8th. Guys will start trickling in the first week of June. They'll have some physicals and get back moved in. And we're We're going to be over at the race, the Bommarito race on the 7th. I think the whole team will go over there.
There we go.
And then we're on the court. June 8th starts our summer workout. So we're excited. So, it's a new chapter. It's always, this is the deal. You kind of capstone one year and now that's behind us, and now we go attack this new group. One chapter closes. It was a great chapter for St. Louis basketball, historic in a lot of ways, and now, as we say, we're not guarding anything. We're not guardians. We're builders. We're chasing the next thing. We're on to the future and full speed ahead on this group, and it's now it's about trying to repeat that process. In terms of the level of commitment, sacrifice, work. Those guys did on a daily basis, the way they embraced, each other and the culture. And we got to, restart that. We got a great leg up, though, with those 9 returners.
I'll be at the IndyCar race, so I can't wait to catch up with you there and see all the guys. One last thing, I can't go without asking you about a 76-team tournament. I got to imagine that SLU kind of likes that. Would you agree?
No, 100%. I do like it. I mean, one, it's still a very low percentage of teams that get in. I get the angst over everybody says, well, there's going to be more, bad teams in. There's 365 teams, and so 76 still leaves, 200 and whatever 89 or something like that out, right? So it's a big group out, or 291, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, I think what it's going to do on an annual basis is open up 1, 2, 3 spots for teams that are non-Power 5 teams, which are really being denied access to the tournament, and shown last year that when they get in the tournament, they can actually compete. Like I think we did, High Point did, Miami of Ohio, right? Mm-hmm. And you have these teams. South Florida played Louisville, tooth and nail. You can go through the list of mid, non-Power 5 teams that got in and what they did. And so I do think it opens up more opportunity. I think for our league, the A-10 in particular, because I think us in the Pac-12, with this kind of the realignment piece, I think the Atlantic 10 and Pac-12 will be the premier non-Power 5 leagues. I do think there'll be benefit there. I think the A-10 becomes annually at worst a 2-bid league, hopefully with a floor, and hopefully some years it's a 4-bid league with 76. And so, I do think it opens up more opportunities. I actually think it makes the regular season in some ways a little more, a little more meaningful, because there's only 52 teams that are straight in the tournament. The other, 24 have to get their way into the field of 64. So I think there's some benefit, but I selfishly love it, because I do think it's going to open up more opportunities for teams in the non-Power 5. And I wish they would actually mandate and almost make it a number where you'd see, hey, 4 of the 8 have to go to non-Power 5, because that's the magic of the tournament. That's what makes, March Madness so great is that. And, we've lost that along the way here with some of the different rules that have been designed to eliminate competitive equity and eliminate access to the tournament for teams that are not in the Power 5.
Well, thank you for that. It's a very good explanation from your side of things. And I know your fan base is fired up about this team, so I'm excited to see what happens. Thank you very much for the visit today. Give our best to Natalia. Have a great day.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody out there. Appreciate you, Tom, as always. Look forward to seeing you soon. Everybody have a great one. We'll
Thank you. Soon. You too. Josh Schertz, head coach of the Billikens. When we come back, Blues CEO Chris Zimmerman joins us on KMOX. Stay tuned.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service, Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This is Megan Lynch. 250 doctors go to Ophthalmology Associates. That's why I trust them.
Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
All right, time for our parlay of the day, sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. I'm going to go to the PGA Championship here, and I just can't get past Cameron Young at plus 1,000. Now, I know that makes him the third best favorite in the field, but plus 1,000 seems like a good value for somebody who's probably the hottest player on the planet right now. I mean, I don't know how you can deny it. If you're going a little deeper into it, I think this could be the time of year that Tommy Fleetwood emerges again. He's a great player. He's at plus 2,800. If you're going a little lower, Tyrrell Hatton at 4,500 is eventually going to break through. So those are three right there. Cameron Young, Tommy Fleetwood, Tyrrell Hatton. Have a little fun with it. PGA Championship. Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circasports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circa Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All gas, no brakes. Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's Injury Lawyers, is fueling St. Louis with $77 gas card giveaways. Don't pay at the pump. Let Kaufman Townsley cover it starting Monday, May 11th through Sunday, May 17th. Register now at kaufmantownsley.com.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Welcome back to the show. The Blues CEO is Chris Zimmerman, and it's always a treat to have him on KMOX. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, good morning, Tom. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Well, we appreciate that. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms in your life, and it is a great day as we celebrate all of them. Before I ask you about some things that you're involved in, and you always do such a great job raising money for the St. Louis area and beyond, but let me ask you about the Blues heading into this draft. You don't get the lottery, but it looks like you have a pretty nice situation in the first round. And just overall, your season ending the way it did seem like it had a shine on it. The people thought that the young core performed pretty well. Some promising looks for the future.
Yeah, well, I think we were able to get some of our prospects in, probably maybe a little bit more than if we had been in a different situation. And I think the Stenbergs, the Lindsteins, obviously the year that Jimmy Snuggerud had, Logan Mailloux, a lot of guys stepping up and really sort of establishing what we have to look forward to. And of course, then there's what's happening with the Springfield Thunderbirds, our American Hockey League team that just had the biggest playoff upset in American Hockey League history, beating the top-ranked Providence Bruins.
They did. Somebody's going to take Steve Ott eventually. He's going to be an NHL coach. But, boy, what a great job by him, huh?
Yeah, no, he moved down there mid-season, and I just think obviously a really strong coach, a coach who I think really can motivate and is playing a big role in developing these young players and helping them understand sort of what the culture is of having to outwork teams and just play really gritty hockey. So a lot of excitement there. And I think a lot for our fans to be encouraged by as we head to next season.
You'll just have to figure out next season getting off to a great start. I know that's what Jim Montgomery is tasked with here, getting off to a great start and letting the field chase you rather than the other way around.
Yeah, no, that's clearly it's a point of focus and something that obviously Monty and his staff will be really focused on. But yeah, with the draft coming up, at 3 first-round picks, 3 third-round picks, a lot we think that can happen there. Those will primarily be players that will probably be a few years out. But in terms of building a prospect pool and building, the type of future that gets us back to really being a top-tier team, it feels like we have a number of the right pieces and coming together.
Chris, how is your TV situation? I know there was a lot of talk about how that was handled last year. Now, as you go into this year, I understand the ratings were actually very good for this past season. What does it look like for that landscape next year?
Well, we were really encouraged. Once again, we're top 5 broadcast ratings in the NHL of the U.S. teams. We were up 25%. So a lot good happening, similar to the Cardinals situation, which I think many of your listeners are familiar with, after many years of being part of what was Fox, Sportsnet Midwest, and then Bally's, and then FanDuel, we too are looking to create a different broadcast model. And, I think the good thing is we've had several years to actually do a little bit of testing, exploring. We've got lots of company across Major League Baseball, the NBA, and NHL, and I'd say it is a major area of focus for us right now. And we feel like there's some exciting opportunities out there that we'll be able to talk to fans about, relatively soon.
We're visiting with Blues CEO Chris Zimmerman. You were also a member of the CEOs Against Cancer for the St. Louis chapter of the American Cancer Society. And this year's St. Louis Golf Classic is tomorrow at Boone Valley. Boy, you got some big names there. Goodness. Martin Brodeur, Bernie Federko, Brett Hall, some big names right out of the gate. And on it goes. Pronger, Monty, Jax, Izzy, the Mad Hungarian. And on it goes. That's a great event, but most importantly, it raises a lot of money.
Yeah, no, we really kind of focused on seeing if we could get a number of the real premier players pulled together for this event, and I think we fortunately we were able to do that. The event is a major piece of our fundraising efforts here in St. Louis. In the ongoing fight against cancer. And, you just can't bring enough to that battle. And, we are certainly encouraged by what the event that we'll be putting on there at Boone Valley. In addition to that, we've got part of the fundraising will come through our auction, which includes the ability for people who aren't at the event to log online this weekend and look at a number of fantastic prizes, lots of autographed jerseys of a number of the Hall of Famers, a special golf vacation in Hilton Head, and even a trip where you can travel on the plane with the Blues. So if your listeners want to participate in that, they can go to stlouis.acsgolf.org. I'll say that one more time, stlouis.acsgolf.org. If you didn't get that, you can also go to the Blues app and read about it there and make the connection. So we appreciate anybody who wants to get involved and help us out with making this a really successful event for the fight against cancer.
stlouis.acsgolf.org. ACS stands for American Cancer Society. stlouis.acsgolf.org. All of the auction items are there. Definitely check that out. And if I were to make a pick tomorrow, my guy, Ozzie Smith, knows that course as well as anybody. So watch out. Whoever's playing with Ozzie is going to be in really good shape. Chris Zimmerman, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate it, Tom. Take care.
Great to visit with the Blues CEO. We'll be back with more after this.
Spring is here. Hi, this is Tim Gamma.
And I'm Tom Gamma.
When it comes to tree care, call the name you can trust. Gamma Tree Experts, founded by our dad, Frank Gamma, in 1954.
Frank will be 91 this year, and the third generation of Gammas have joined the business.
Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Now in our 72nd year.
For pruning, fertilization, and removal, call Gamma Tree Experts today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years. Note to self, send flowers.
Up to 50% off. Save on chairs, paper, balloons, and more.
Balloons?
Yeah, Party City is now at Staples.
Surprise!
But the anniversary sale is only 2 weeks, so...
Quick, celebrate 40 years of savings at Staples with up to 50% off. Shop chairs, paper, break room supplies, and more. 2 weeks only in 523.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app.
As I've been telling you for months, FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of KMOX. And right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. That's right. Turn $5 into $150 in bonus bets just for getting started. FanDuel makes it easy to get closer to the action, from player props on your favorite stars to all the tools you need to back them up. It's everything you need, all in one app. Don't miss your shot. Go to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel, an official partner of the NBA. Play your game. Must be 21 or over and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
In this case, Pakistan asked us, head of state to head of state, to give this negotiation another chance before we go back to bombing Iran. Then I think that's completely an appropriate choice for President Trump to make.
But there's still weapons fire believed to be coming from Iran. In this case, a possible drone that hit a British ship off the coast of Qatar. Reporter Dale Gavlak is in Amman, Jordan.
Vessels in the area have been advised to transit with caution. The incident comes as tensions remain high in the Gulf between the U.S. and Iran amid a tenuous ceasefire.
The cruise ship hit by a hantavirus outbreak is now anchored off the coast of Morocco with dozens of passengers headed home.
I'm Remy Inocencio in Tenerife, the Canary Islands. The Honda is pulled into the port here on the south side of Tenerife before dawn, and a few hours later, after daybreak, passengers finally started to disembark after their 5.5-week cruise turned crisis. Small boats are ferrying them from the Hondias, which had dropped anchor in the industrial port of Granadilla. From the shore, passengers are quickly boarded onto buses and whisked to the airport just about 10 minutes away, then onto their repatriation flights home.
Medical officials say none of the disembarking passengers have any symptoms of the virus. President Trump's Religious Liberty Commission is expected to issue its wish list shortly. CBS's Michael Toscano.
The commission has largely conservative evangelical and Catholic membership, and their
priorities reflect that perspective. Its chairman, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
The separation of church and state is the biggest lie that's been told in America since our founding.
The priorities are increased religious expression in public schools and other public settings, more public money for religious organizations, and religious-based exemptions from regulations and classroom lessons. Michael Toscano, CBS News, Washington.
Whether it's candy, flowers, brunch, or dinner out, pampering mom on Mother's Day has gotten more and more expensive. CBS Sacramento's Connor McGill.
Customer Matthew Reardon says even with higher prices, skipping flowers for mom isn't an option.
Mother's Day, that's one of the ones where you can't really cut pennies on that one without hearing for it the rest of the year.
Reardon says he splits the cost with his family every year to make it work.
Me and my siblings all pitch in about $50 every holiday, Mother's Day and birthdays, and, make sure she knows she's appreciated.
This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible?
Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60.
At 11:03, we have a cloudy sky in downtown St. Louis. Mild temperature right now, 65 degrees. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories making news.
We don't deserve to live in trash.
A resident of Kinloch for many years, Marvin Brown. The city has received a $1 million grant from Boeing to help remove almost 300 tons of trash. Governor Mike Kehoe says Kinloch is also receiving $2 million from Missouri to tear derelict buildings down.
Anything that starts and stops doesn't do well. It's got to start and not stop. And I believe that the investment you saw here today, the partnership you saw here, all of the folks you saw come together really understand what this is about.
Large-scale illegal dumping has plagued Kinloch for decades. They call themselves Shiny Hunters, a name based on the Pokemon series, and they hacked the Canvas learning platform used by schools and colleges nationwide, including our area.
This is truly just an efficiency play, just like any other business.
Jacob Ward, CNN contributor and tech journalist, says Instructure is the parent company of Canvas. This is a second attack by Shiny Hunters, and they have hit larger institutions in the past, like AT&T. This time, they hit schools and universities. Washington University, St. Louis University, Lindenwood, and University of Missouri at a time when students are prepping for finals. The Canvas platform is used by students for test, viewing course materials, grades, messaging. Shiny hackers sent a ransom.
It's truly just about destruction, chaos, and money. It's not truly about anything else, typically. And so, they are absolutely trying to terrorize these students at a particularly terrible time, right?
Instructure reports some information was hacked. The AP reports that users on Canvas saw, quote, if any schools in the affected list are interested in preventing the release of their data, please consult with the cyber advisory firm and contact us to negotiate a settlement, unquote. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
Also in the news this morning, taking a look at what's happening in television. One of the longest-serving people behind government TV in the city of St. Louis is saying his goodbyes.
Kenneth Roberts is the man behind Emmy-nominated local programming, marking 33 years as a video engineer in the communication division of St. Louis TV. Now he's taking center stage, receiving an unexpected honor from the city's Board of Aldermen this Friday.
It's quite an honor, and I've seen so many people come up here and receive these through the years and never really imagined that the day would come when it would be me.
In prepared remarks, Kenneth Roberts says he's proud of the work that he's done.
I'm so proud and privileged. I've truly been blessed to have an amazing career and blessed to have an amazing family.
He calls that family his proudest achievement. Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
Sports on a Sunday morning coming up. Next hour, we're going to have Diego Gigliani, president of St. Louis City SC, Chaim Bloom, president of baseball operations for the Cardinals, Bernie Miklasz at 11:45, as well as a report on the Battlehawks right out of the gate. Our weather, partly sunny and cooler today with a high of 69 degrees. Tonight, clear to partly cloudy, low 47. Tomorrow, partly sunny and pleasant, high 76. Tuesday, breezy and warm with times of clouds and sun, a passing shower and a thunderstorm late in the day with a high of 83 degrees. Currently, it's 64 in Florissant, 64 in St. Peters, mostly cloudy, 65 downtown at the Arch at 11:06.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now, from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Great to be along with you. Again, hope everyone's having a great Mother's Day. Got a tweet. Yeah, I always put the lineup out for the show, Drew, as you know, and we always are loaded with guests. We think people love that. Josh Schertz was on the show. Well, first, Dan Reardon was on the show, talking about the upcoming PGA Championship. Josh Schertz followed that. Chris Zimmerman, the Blues CEO, after that. So we talked golf and Billiken basketball and Blues hockey. Coming up, Diego Gigliani. A lot of City fans want to hear what he has to say. 11:30, Chaim Bloom. Certainly Cardinals fans want to hear Chaim. Bernie Miklasz, as popular segment as we have. But I had someone named Scott tweet at me, said, would love someone to report weekly on the first place Battlehawks. And I feel like that was a tweet feeling as if he had been slighted. Well, the explanation, Scott, is that I left this segment open at the start of the 11 to talk about a lot of things that are happening around sports. And I only have so many characters in my post that I'm allowed. See, I don't have a blue check mark anymore. I decided I'm not going to pay for my account at X, so I only get whatever number of characters it is. So I try to put out as brief a lineup as I can. I did not include the Battlehawks in there, but the Battlehawks are very much in my conversation today because they won. That game was on Friday, and I've heard some people say sometimes they're not sure when the games are, and they'd love to know. Well, there are a lot of people that are going to the games, and the Dome was filled with memories on Friday because you had members of the Super Bowl champion Rams from 1999, some of the all-time greats, and you had a lot of fans in there. They're drinking beer, they're waving towels, they're dressed up, they're having a good time, and they're rooting on the Battlehawks, and they enjoy the heck out of them. The Battlehawks are the city's football team, and for right now, that's what people are taking in at the Dome, and they have an absolute blast with it. The Battlehawks played the Aviators. And if you're not familiar with the Columbus Aviators, they tried to come at this Ricky Prohl coach team, and they came out behind. They lost that game 31-20, and I'm not sure that the game was that close. Here's Coach Prohl talking to the media.
You know, a win's a win. I thought we came out of the blocks really good, making plays, some great throws. Defense made some plays, some stops, just in a rhythm. I thought is from a standpoint of offense, defense, really doing some great things. We need to work on finishing though, running the football. So that's a little bit disappointed in the end of the game, offensively and defensively. So we got some things to clean up and work on, and but. Like I said, it's always great to win. It's good to win, but it's also good that we got some things to clean up. No, it isn't. It isn't, and especially in this offense, it's not something anybody can just come in and it's an integral offense. A lot of moving parts, a lot of things. You know, it's too many, to be honest with you, and that's some of the stuff we're trying to clean up. But very pleased with Luis's performance tonight. And, he did a great job getting in this week, had a good week of practice, and I can really see him just continuing to get better.
That would be Luis Perez, the quarterback for the Battlehawks. He actually opened the scoring with a touchdown run, finished the day 16 of 30 passing for 204 yards and a touchdown.
I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be here. Like Coach said, we got a lot of things to clean up on offense. I feel like we played 3 pretty good quarters. That fourth quarter was not to our standard, and we just got to make sure we play all 4 quarters. Because as you know, there's really no 4-minute in this game. Anybody can come back in the game, so we got to make sure we put teams away, not be as conservative, and make sure we're executing at the highest level.
Again, that's Luis Perez, the quarterback for the Battlehawks, and Ricky Prohl, the wide receiver for the Super Bowl champion St. Louis Rams, who has taken over as head coach of this team. And the Battlehawks get the win, 31-20 over the Columbus Aviators. That game was at the Dome at America's Center in downtown St. Louis. As we continue to follow this team and all the sports that are happening downtown, it's really great to see all of that. The crowds downtown, people hanging out, going to bars and restaurants downtown, in some cases staying at hotels downtown. Downtown absolutely is a sports destination and has to continue to be. We're going to take a break. When we come back, on that note, Downtown West, the president of St. Louis City SC, Diego Gigliani, they played last night against Colorado, and they came out a winner. We're going to have it for you next. A road win for the first time, a clean sheet for the first time. 1-0. Back after this.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new home, and the Reserve at Wildwood is where you want to be. Park-like setting with front porches on every home, connected trails for exploring, walk to Main Street and Wildwood Town Center, top-rated Rockwood schools, and legendary McKelvey quality you can count on, featuring James Hardy siding. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and learn what makes the Reserve so special. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
Deer season is here at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. If you've been thinking about a new mower, gator, or compact tractor, May is the time to take a look. Get cash off new select John Deere equipment, plus affordable finance options to help make your purchase even easier. Bring home dependable equipment built for the season ahead. Come see us at any of our S&P dealerships or visit snpartners.com. Seidenstricker Nobe, your partner for the land.
Offer valid through 6/3/2026. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
At a local speed dating event, homeowners weren't looking for love. They were looking for the one.
Honey, I got the best news.
What, you installed all the ceiling fans?
No, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Yeah, oh, you are, but this one is certified, background check, and everyone was fighting over him. Plus, he can install all the ceiling fans.
Okay, who is this guy?
A Jerry Kelly technician.
For heating, cooling, electrical, or plumbing, find the one for your home. Schedule today at
JerryKelly.com. Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down, 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce!
It's spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour, and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
I've been burned before. I was just repeating the same patterns. It turns out I had a type.
Workplaces everywhere are looking for love. And by love, we mean the easy way to order food at work. Easy Cater.
I thought ordering from great restaurants at work had to be complicated, but then I met Easy Cater. So many options, so flexible, and when I ordered for 50 gluten-free vegans without going over budget, I knew I'd found the platform I wanted to do life and lunch with.
Fall in love with Easy Cater. Start an order at easycater.com.
Spring is here. Hi, this is Tim Gamma.
And I'm Tom Gamma.
When it comes to tree care, call the name you can trust. Gamma Tree Experts, founded by our dad, Frank Gamma, in 1954.
Frank will be 91 this year, and the third generation of Gammas have joined the business.
Call our team of certified arborists to inspect your trees and shrubs today. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. Now in our 72nd year.
For pruning, fertilization, and removal, call Gamma Tree Experts today or visit us at gammatree.com.
Your trees deserve the best care.
All month long, we're taking time to honor those who have served and reflect on the meaning of home. Because home isn't just where you live, it's where you feel comfortable and protected. At Renewal by Andersen, we believe your home should deliver that every single day. That's why every project is handled by one experienced, dedicated team. From consultation through installation, designed around your home and your schedule. And with our exclusive Fibrex material, stronger than vinyl and built for extreme temperatures, you get durability that lasts for years to come. Right now, during our Memorial Day savings event, save $500 on every window and $1,000 on every door. Plus, military families receive an additional $300 off their entire purchase. With flexible financing available, you can move forward with confidence. Call by May 31st to schedule your free window and door diagnosis. Call 877-WINDOWS or visit renewalbyandersen.com today. That's 1-877-WINDOWS or renewalbyandersen.com. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products, exceptional service.
Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
Aronson, Rosenberry, cross edge, over the spot, Travis shoulders it down and he mishits. Looking for the near stick, had a decent look. McNaughton tried to close it down. Ball sprays out of bounds, and that takes us to the final whistle. Your final score, St. Louis 1, Colorado nothing.
I heard a little chuckle out of Dale Shilley there. With Joey Zanaboni calling it on Y98, gets the win. St. Louis City SC wins it. And joining us is the president of St. Louis City SC. That would be Diego Gigliani. It's always a pleasure to have you on KMOX, Diego.
Good morning, Tom. How are you doing?
Doing great. Win is wonderful. It's a road win. It's the first road win. It's the first clean sheet. And I don't know, you probably are aware of this, but the owners of the Colorado Rapids are Kroenke Sports and Entertainment, and they're not exactly our favorites here in St. Louis. So we're very happy to get a win against Colorado as well.
So I've heard. We'll take the 3 points against anyone, but I know it feels a little bit more special for some.
I know that. Maybe not the prettiest of games either, but you get the win, and that's most important. So let's talk about the positives there. A clean sheet for Roman Berkey, and I know that everybody wanted to try to accomplish that. What do you think about a clean sheet overall?
Yeah, we've been wanting one of those since the beginning of the season. Now we're 11 games in to celebrate the first one of those, but really we're at the stage of the season where we got to take all the wins that we can. And wins, I just mean more like things to help us maintain the belief in what we're doing. It might not have been the prettiest game, but we have played many prettier games and gotten less. So I know the team, the players, the coaching staff, everyone still feels very confident in the direction we're going. The results just haven't been helping us to be able to see that on the table.
You get out there and you get a victory, and you'll take it any way you can get it, and the work is put in, and you come out with a 1-0 victory. You got the goal from Sangbin. Here it is.
Oh, ball squeaks to Sangbin, in all alone against the keeper. Sangbin dribbles up Sangbin! He shoots and scores! Oh, baby! Sangbin Jung! City lead!
That's what fans want. They want to hear the city leads, and you got it 1-0, and you got the goal, and that was a beautiful one right there just to get on the board.
Yeah, it was very similar to a goal that we had against Tulsa in the U.S. Open Cup, where Berkey plays the long ball. He's got amazing quality with the ball to be able to place that ball right at in the right place at the right time, and then Betcher just barely gets a flick on it, and Sangbin exploits space. That's what he's good at. He's fast. And he made the run. He went around the goalkeeper, and he gave us our first win.
You've been around the game a long time, and I've been watching the game for a while, not nearly at the level you are. I know your eye. But the way I see it is they just don't have enough scores. They don't have enough finishers. I remember that first year, Klaus is scoring, Klaus is electric. That was fun. I know you've moved on, but that is the search right now, I feel like, is who is going to be next up to be that go-to player.
Yeah, it's definitely been a gap in the last several games. I mean, if you can see the amount of chances that we create, that's one important part that we analyze. We're saying, how often are we creating chances? Can we create chances consistently? And we do create chances pretty much every game. Then the difficulty, especially in the last, has been putting those chances away, and that comes down to finishing and individual moments and quality, and we've definitely struggled more. If you look at the last 3 or 4 games, we could have scored, easily 4 or 5 more goals. So that's definitely something that we will need to look at and aim to improve in the summer. I mean, obviously, having Klaus leave at the beginning of this season was not something that we were expecting, and it was always going to be difficult to fill those shoes. We brought in Sergio Cordova for a short-term loan, hoping that he can fill those gaps, and then Betcher to step up, and we haven't quite been able to fill those shoes yet. So we're going to continue looking to improve that.
I know that as soon as Bosnia and Herzegovina made the World Cup, the phones were ringing, and in particular, your phone was working. Probably within seconds of them pulling off that victory. And you told us on the air a couple of weeks ago that you were working on something and you were possibly getting close. Well, part of the Summer of Soccer presented by Purina is to welcome Bosnia and Herzegovina's national team to St. Louis. You're going to have a 6-day training camp. You're going to have an international friendly against Panama. That's June 6th. I know tickets are already on sale. How are they going?
They're going great. I mean, we have the benefit of being able to bring a team that's going to feel like a home team here. We've got close to 60,000 Bosnians living in St. Louis, the largest community outside of Europe, and to bring their national team to their city just a week before they have their debut, their second ever appearance in a World Cup, is really creating amazing buzz around that community and more broadly across St. Louis. We don't have a World Cup official game here, so we're doing everything we can to bring World Cup excitement to St. Louis, and bringing 2 World Cup qualified teams just a week before they start to compete at the global stage of the World Cup is exciting for everyone.
They have a lot of history here, the Bosnian community and population. Over 60,000 Bosnians, it's estimated, live in the St. Louis region today. So I'll bet that not only are you involved in getting them into the park, into Energizer Park, but going to them, being with them, allowing them to feel like they're part of this is a huge part of what you're doing.
For sure. I mean, I know Bosnians are like the Europeans and South Americans that are born loving the sport and often playing the sport since a very young age. While here in the U.S., kids play all sorts of sports, but I know people from the Bosnian community, soccer or football means that much more to all of them. So I know how important opportunities like this are to be able to bring the Bosnian national team here. And we've been engaging with that community really since the beginning of the club's founding. One of our first players ever was a Bosnian player called Selmir Pedro. He didn't quite feature on the first team as much as we all hoped, but we knew that was also going to be a way of connecting with that community. We are certain that this is going to be another really important way of connecting with the community. And we want this to be the start of really understanding how we can bring them to Energizer Park more often and have them feel that St. Louis City is their home team in the same way that the Bosnian national team is.
This is also going to mark Dzeko's 5th time playing in St. Louis. He's 40 years old now, the captain. I know that you're quite familiar with his play, Diego.
Very good, Tom. Very good. Yeah, he played for Man City when I started working there in 2013. So we coincided for maybe 2 or 3 seasons, and he was a legend for Man City. And when he left, it felt like he was reaching the peak of his career, and he continued playing at such a high level. And to think that at 40, he's still captaining the Bosnian national team and will be at the World Cup is an amazing achievement for him, and I can't wait to see him.
What a cool thing. So, again, that's happening on June 6th at 2 p.m., at Energizer Park in downtown St. Louis. That's going to be an incredible weekend here in St. Louis. You're going to have IndyCar going on. You have the Cardinals playing downtown. You have City hosting the Bosnian team in St. Louis at Energizer Park. That's awesome. And how is everything happening with downtown? I mean, just the overall crowds, the security around your park. What has the neighborhood been like here in this season here in 26?
I mean, we ask our fans that question all the time, and all we get is positive feedback of how much they love coming to downtown for our games. They feel safe. They not just feel safe, but just feel energized from going back to downtown and seeing it alive with people and with activity. And that weekend that you mentioned, yes, we have the Panama versus Bosnia international friendly, but the week after, Then we've got a major watch party for the USA's debut in the World Cup, also happening right outside our stadium on Lufius Plaza on Friday, June 12th in the afternoon. The game starts at 8, but I'm picturing a beautiful Friday, June summer day where families, kids can come early and hang out. There'll be food and beverage. There'll be music. There'll be a chance to play on a little patch of grass we have right there on Lufius Plaza. And then as we get into nighttime, the screens will turn on. People will drink their beers and enjoy their food and hopefully celebrate USA's win.
It's going to be a great atmosphere down there. I can say this on Mother's Day, that if you ask my wife her favorite sports experience in St. Louis right now, she jumps at a chance to go to a City game. There's no doubt about it. It has become very inviting. Great party atmosphere, Diego.
Happy to hear that. She's always welcome. Happy Mother's Day to her and to everyone else.
Thank you for the time. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks for all the info on the Bosnian friendly. We look forward to it.
Thanks very much.
We will come back with Chaim Bloom, the Cardinals president of baseball operations. He joins us next. It is Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio. We'll be right back.
KMOX Weekend at your service, sponsored by Air Comfort Service, Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Hey, it's Matt and Leslie Holiday. When we got to St. Louis, it wasn't long before we started searching for a way to give back.
We visited Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, and we knew this is where we belonged.
Homers for Health has been going strong for 15 years and has made such an unbelievable impact on the hospital. I've won a World Series, but I consider the work we have done at Cardinal Glennon to be the greatest achievement.
Yes, your support truly makes a difference. Make your pledge for patients today at homersforhealth.org to benefit the devoted fund.
Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Now, back to the Great Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
We're back on KMOX 1130 with the Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. Boy, the Cardinals are playing well. They dropped one last night 4-2, but even in that game, Chaim, you start putting pressure on Mason Miller. You got the bases loaded. J.J. Weatherholt at the plate. He watched 102 miles an hour go by to close that game out, but you once again had people sitting on the edge of their seat. Good morning, and thank you for being with us.
Yeah, it's good to be with you. Must be nice if you're Mason Miller and your 102 mile an hour fastball is not the pitch people think you're going to throw.
Yeah, no kidding. That really is something. And he passes Riley O'Brien for the saves lead in the National League. Riley looked absolutely, I don't want to put him up, rank him, but I really said it out loud. This might be the best I've ever seen him the other night when he closed that game out for you.
You know, everybody around here is just happy for him because there have been some ups and downs, obviously. First of all, throughout his whole career, he's a little bit of kind of a latecomer to this in a sense. Known him for a long time, actually was with the Rays when he was drafted, and he's had a lot of stops on his journey since then. And just to see him so comfortable now in who he is, so poised, and he's in a really good spot with his arsenal too. We know, that role is a really unique and really interesting one, and he seems to be settling into it.
And the Cardinals took the first two of that series. We'll get to those in just a moment. But as for last night, how did you view that matchup? You had Dustin May battling in there. You push, as I said, Mason to the very end, but you come up a little short, 4-2. I guess just one of those games where the ball didn't fall your way.
Yeah, and that's going to happen. Obviously, we've had three really hard-fought games, and even the one that we won comfortably in a sense, obviously that swung on one play that very easily could have gone differently. So, that with this group, the identity that they're developing, all we wanted them to do is just compete relentlessly, keep coming, and that's what they've done. I mean, they've gone about it in such a way that you feel good going in every game. We know that's not how baseball works, and like I said, even with a young group, even when you do have a team that you feel could steamroll people, that there's going to be ups and downs during the season, and especially with a group this young, there's going to be ups and downs. But they've gone about it in such a way that you feel that they're going to win every time they take the field, and that's really all you can ask.
In that 2-1 ball game, Mason Wynn had a go-ahead triple that snuck by Nick Castellanos, went to the wall, and the Cardinals won that ball game. And then you just alluded to it. I've seen, and the great thing about baseball is just you never know what you're going to see. I've seen some crazy stuff, but J.J. Weatherholt sprinting around the bases and the ball slipping by Fernando Tatis Jr. in that same spot in right field was something to behold. That 6-0 win had a lot of things going for it, but there's no question that the Weatherholt Little League Grand Slam is going to be on the highlight reel at the end of the year.
Yeah, I got two Little Leaguers in my house, so I had to ask them if they were offended that that play was called a Little League Grand Slam, but they did enjoy it. Yeah, look, we talk a lot about just trying to dominate details, trying to win on those little margins, and sometimes those little margins are big things. You talk about those two plays, the cliche that it's a game of inches, it's true. Those things can swing games, and obviously, you're talking about some really, really good players on the other side that just happen not to make those plays, and sometimes that's the way it's going to go, but that's why we stress these things, and that's why you just want to be a little more fundamentally sound than the other side so you can have those things go your way.
Your bullpen locked it down in that game as well, with Gordon Graceffo going 2 scoreless, just ripped through 2 innings, and Ryan Stanek pitched a scoreless 9th as well, but that was Michael McGreevy's show. I mean, that's, as you talk about, as good as you've seen a guy. He gets this reputation as being a ground ball pitcher. How do you like 9 strikeouts in 6 innings at Petco Park? That was a dynamite outing by Michael McGreevy, who's actually had a very, very good year.
Yeah, that was awesome, and so pumped for him, obviously, knowing he is a California kid and being able to do it, I'm sure with a lot of family and friends in the stands, was really cool. And he's had some outings this year where, you finish the outing and you're saying he might not have had the swing and miss stuff, but just his savvy and his competitiveness got him through. You would not say that about that game. That was awesome to watch. He had a lot of different things working, particularly the changeup, which was both nasty and that he executed really well. And he ended up getting some swing and miss. We obviously have talked a lot about wanting to up our game in that department, and it was great to see him do that the other night.
You're going to be playing at the 3:10 start today with Kyle Leahy on the mound. How have you seen Leahy so far?
Well, I think he is starting to come along in this role, and that's one of the things with him. We have talked about this a little bit. When you saw Libby go through it last year, when you make that transition back into the rotation from having been a successful reliever, there is a process. I'm not even talking about necessarily on the mound. I'm talking about what happens the other 4 or 5 days just to get you ready to pitch and ready to be at your best for that, hopefully up to 100 pitches and maybe beyond. And one thing about Kyle is he's really bright and he's incredibly intentional about everything that he does, his routine. So you can see him learning from each start. Okay, what did I do leading up to the start? Whether it was the mental preparation, the physical preparation, and how did that go in the game? And he's going to continue evolving that routine as we go through the season. And the hope is that keeps getting better and better to where he can really be at his best multiple times through the order. Of course, that's something that kind of got him earlier in the season and is a battle for every starter. And he has a deep enough repertoire that he should be able to offer different looks each time he turns the lineup over. And that's what you need to do to succeed as a starter, because as we know, hitters get more comfortable with you the more that they see you.
Andre Palante, any concerns there? Although he did get beat early against the Brewers, gave up an early 4 runs. He ends up going 6 innings for you, Chaim, in that loss.
Yeah, and I look at that as, you see the growth of a young player. Obviously, that first inning really got away from him, and that's a tough one to swallow after having 2 out, nobody on. But I do think, you look at where he might have been a couple years ago, and I'm not sure that after giving up those 4 runs in the first inning, the Andre Palante of old still would have found a way to go 6. And especially in a long stretch of games, that's really important. You take some pressure off your bullpen, and then they were sharp and ready for us the next couple of days. So that's the nature of the baseball season, because we play almost every day. So there's still positives you can take out of that. And it's exciting to see him able to do that, because you really need your starters to do that, not just when they have a lead, but also if you're in a deficit and you need them to take some pressure off the pen to save them for the next day.
Last week, I asked you about the immediate starting pitching depth for this team. We talked about that a little bit. Then there's a layer under that of pitchers that are coming, and Springfield has one named Liam Doyle. People might have heard of him. He had a tremendous outing yesterday. 5 innings, struck out 8, didn't walk anyone, 2 runs on 5 hits. And I say a tremendous outing based on what we saw early in the year from Doyle. It sounds like he's starting to work more pitches into his repertoire, Chaim.
Yeah, there are a few things there that have been going on behind the scenes to try to get him to a better spot, both in terms of where we're taking the arsenal, even in terms of some little mechanical things that he's doing that have been worked on in the last couple of weeks, couple things that our pitching team found that we think can get him to a better version of himself quicker. Even with all that, there's some things that he's doing that are taking him out of his comfort zone. Taking a pitcher who was basically in college a 2-pitch pitcher because he could be, and developing some usable breaking balls, and even some different fastball looks that ultimately have a chance to make him a top rotation major league starter. There's obviously a long way between now and then, but there were some things behind the scenes that are being worked on in the last couple outings. He's actually been able to take them into the game, and that's what you want to see. That's what the development process is for, and it's nice to see some of those things taking hold.
We did have a question on Twitter earlier. Let me see if I can get to it real quick. Could you ask Chaim what he's been seeing from Liam Doyle? We got to that. And an update on Tink Hence. This one is from Adam.
Yep. Yeah, so Tink, this one's been the tougher one. We've obviously talked about this for a couple of years. You're talking about an incredibly athletic, hardworking kid who we've seen some of his top end on the field. We just haven't been able to see it consistently enough. And we actually have him right now out of competition at the moment just to try to rework some things with his routine so he can bring his best stuff into the game from pitch 1 when he comes into the game. We saw a trend in recent outings where he was actually coming into the game almost like he was kind of feeling his way into the outing, and obviously that's not something that will play at the big league level, even though he's been able to have occasional success with it at AAA. So there's been kind of a step back from competition just to try to rework a lot of different things in his routine and his preparation. Now, when I say preparation, don't get me wrong, this isn't a work ethic issue. This is a tremendous kid who really works hard. It's more about just trying to figure out what are the X's and O's of him leading up to coming into the game, whether it's, working backwards all the way from that first pitch to what is he doing in the bullpen, to what's he doing early in his day, what's he doing in the weight room, what's he doing in the training room, and just trying to find something that gets him to his top end right away when he comes into the game and that he can stay healthy doing for the course of a season. So we know we haven't quite found this one yet, so we're taking a step back, trying some different things, and encouraged about where those might lead, but we'll have to see as he gets into this in the coming weeks.
Last thing for you, and we've talked a ton of pitching here, but I do want to throw in an offensive question, even though we did discuss Weatherholt and others earlier. That top of the order, 1 through 4 especially, you got some bangers in there. I mean, there's no question about that. You have some big-time hitters. The bottom half of the lineup sometimes comes up short, Chaim, and it does seem like you could use another bat in there. I guess what I'm leading into is how close is Lars? I think it'd be a lot to ask of Lars Nootbaar to just start slugging right after dealing with all that he's had to deal with, but how close is he?
Well, hopefully at this point we're talking weeks. We are still on track at some point during the coming week to see him start a rehab assignment. And, we're still working through some final steps there to get him into competition. So I don't have an exact date for you, but we're pretty close to being able to do that. And from there, he's going to need, that full rehab assignment, because you got to remember he did not have spring training. So we want to make sure we get enough under him so that when we do activate him, which we're hoping, hopefully that'll be sometime early next month, that he can just jump right into things. Obviously, we're going to have to take care of him and build him up, but that he can jump in, go back to back. And, you think about this guy in like an ABS world, right? And how good his eye is, and that should play to his strengths. And hopefully that will put him in better position to have pitchers come to him and hopefully impact us right away. I mean, ideally, when we get him out there, he's ready to do that.
Always appreciate your time. Thank you very much for it. Good luck this afternoon in San Diego as the Cardinals take on the Padres today on KMOX. Thanks, Chaim.
You bet. Sounds good. Hopefully we'll be able to provide a nice Mother's Day present to all the moms watching us.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms in your life. Moms are so important in the game of baseball. That's Chaim Bloom, Cardinals president of baseball operations. I'm Tom Ackerman. We come back. Bernie Miklasz joins us live on KMOX Sports on a Sunday morning from the Stifel Sports Studio.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
On Saturday, May 16th, join KMOX and Grassroots Redeeming Love in commemorating 1 year since the historic EF3 tornado that devastated North St. Louis with a short morning of service. Volunteers will meet in the Kingsway East neighborhood from 9 to 11 to help clear tree limbs and trash. If interested in RSVPing for the cleanup or interested in donating to the effort, go to KMOX.com/events for more information.
It's Tom Ackerman. Earlier, I was giving you my parlay of the day. That is from Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. I'm so happy that Circa Sports came into my life as a partnership on KMOX. It's fun talking about them. It really is. I've always been a fan. But now that I get to look at this Circa Sports app and use it and see how it works, it's so easy to use. I think that's what stands out to me when you're looking at all of these options out there. Circa Sports is sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and an app that is very easy to use and navigate. That's Circa Sports. Whether you're looking for playoff futures, props on your favorite players, and more, basketball, hockey, baseball, it's all going right now, golf, you name it. Circa Sports has you covered. Download the Circa Sports app or visit circasports.com today. Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Bernie Miklasz here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Today,
The Cards, the Padres,
Ackerman Total Access 215. First pitch 3:10.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Now, back to the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning on 104.1 KMOX. From the Stifel Financial Sports Studio, here is Tom Ackerman.
I'll tell you what, my time management has been so good on this show. This is like Kurt Signetti caliber time management. Bernie Miklasz joins us, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling. I mean, dude, we get 12 minutes now to talk.
I like it, but did Mark Cuban have anything to do with your improved time management?
He handed me a check, and suddenly, boom, it's 11:45 on the dot. I mean, it's amazing how that happens.
I love it. Good to be with you as always.
Always good to be with you. Well, pal, we've got ourselves a Cardinals team that once again is putting on a show. I was describing this to somebody the other day, and I said, look, they don't win every game, but it feels like they think they're going to. And you can just see, you can go through all the stats you want, but the eye test will tell you their body language, Bernie, is off the charts, I feel like. I look at them, and I see a team that believes somehow they'll get it done, even if they have deficiencies, which they do, but they seem to overcome them more often than not.
No doubt about it. The body language is great. The persona is great. Just the eye, they passed the eye test. You look at the dugout shots. You look at the way they go about their business. You look at the way they interact with themselves. Also, the manager. These guys have a joy of baseball. They love playing the game. They love competing. They love each other. And the thing about it is they've already shown, a month and where are we at? 39 games into the season. They've shown that, it's not always going to be, cookies and ice cream. Sometimes it's going to be sour. It's going to be bitter. Sometimes you're going to get hit in the mouth and, there'll be some blood on your chin or whatever, but that doesn't faze them either. They don't linger on it. If anything, it kind of, what's the word? It's almost like, some of the great boxers in the history of the sport, when they would get hit, it almost made them better. It like sharpened their reflexes. They're like ready to go. It's like, oh, okay, now, oh, okay, all right. Now I know what I'm in for. Let's go. They just get right back up and start doing what they got to do. So it's a team that has handled winning very well because they don't get complacent whatsoever. But it's a team that also has handled losing very well because they don't always put an end to losing right away. I mean, they have had a few little losing streaks, but they don't let it fester. They find a way to win a game and get rolling again. And I listen, even when they lose, and we've talked about this, Tom, even when they lose, like last night, that's a tough loss. But even when they lose, the games are highly entertaining. They're wild, Mm-hmm. They're a good time, win or lose. Although certainly we prefer that they continue to win. And it's been a fun ride this season.
Sure has. When they got that fourth run, when the Padres did, Machado hits the home run, and you're in the bottom of the eighth. Mason Miller's already gotten an out. I thought, this is I probably should get ready for bed. I mean, this is probably it here. This is a 4-2 for Mason Miller. It's a done deal. I thought, I even with the bottom of the order coming, you just never know with this team. And lo and behold, here they are with an opportunity to bust through again. It's unbelievable. It really is. Now, they have, speaking of the bottom of the order, let's talk about some deficiencies. That
Sure.
is an issue. I mean, and you brought it up to Ollie earlier this week. We've talked about it. Top half of this lineup looks dynamite. Bottom half, inconsistent to be kind. So I'm wondering how they can continue to roll in that fashion.
Well, it's tough because, like right now, for example, first of all, Victor Scott, who still starts the majority of the game in center field. Listen, man, the facts are the facts. He's just not having a good year offensively. It's very disappointing. He'd be the first to tell you that. He's not much of a factor that way as far as standing in the box and hitting line drive singles or whatever. It just doesn't happen very often. Pages was off to a really good start offensively, but he's something like 0 for his last 17. So you're in a situation where they played Sajasi. He hasn't had a hit in a long time. Pages is in a slump. Victor Scott in the 9-hole is an issue for sure. He does have some attributes. We know that, but we're not looking for, clouds in the silver lining. It's just been a bad performance offensively. So that's the issue, especially if you're getting nothing from the 8-hole, you're going to have two dead spots in the lineup basically. And we've seen what happens with that when the 8 and 9 spots aren't kicking in and doing something, those two spots together. Because keep in mind, what's important about the 8 and the 9 spots is, to state the obvious, the lineup turns over after that. So if you're getting guys on base from the 8 and the 9 spots, JJ Weatherholt's up next, then it's Herrera, then it's Burleson, then it's Walker. So the end of your lineup can actually ignite offense by setting things up for your best bats who are coming next. That hasn't been happening lately. And that's why, Tom, it's interesting early in May, it's only 8 games. So I know it's a small sample, but early in May, the Cardinals offense has slowed down. It really has. They've hit 4 home runs in 8 games. They continue to struggle with runners in scoring position, but there is a silver lining in the cloud. The pitching has actually gotten better. And we talked about some of the deficiencies, but over the last 23 games, I mean, that's a pretty good sample size now. The starting pitchers have a 3.49 ERA, and I'm trying to see where they are. I think I wrote that down wrong. But the starting pitchers have a really good ERA where they rank 7th in the majors over that time. And that's what it is, 3.49. They rank 7th since April the 14th. And during this stretch where the Cardinals are 5-3 since leaving Pittsburgh after sweeping the Pirates, the Cardinals are averaging only 3.6 runs per game, but they're pitchers, bullpen too. During this 8-game stretch to open May, they've allowed less than 3 runs per game. And when the Cardinals, in their 5 wins, they've only allowed 8 runs total. So why am I making a big deal about it? Because it is a small sample. I'm making a big deal about it is because we've all had it on our mind. They've been able to overcome their pitching. They've been able to outslug, their team and so on and so forth. They've been able to score runs and score enough to win regularly. But we also said, all of us, I believe, said, well, you can't expect the offense to always carry you. So what's going to happen if the offense slows down? The reason why I'm all jacked up about this is because I know it's only 8 games, but this is the first time all season that we have had this test where, okay, offense is quiet, not hitting home runs, leaving too many people on base. Can the pitchers step up and win games? At least for the first 8 games in May, the answer is an unequivocal yes, they can. At least they're showing signs that they can do that. I happen to think that's something to keep an eye on because if these guys start to pitch solidly, they don't have to be the greatest pitching staff. If they just pitch solidly, the complexion of this whole season looks different, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. Libby goes in there on Friday and pitches 6 innings, gives up 1 run, and then on Saturday, Thursday was Libby. Friday was McGreevy goes in there and shuts him out over 6. I mean, that's big-time stuff. That first game, the 2-1 game, felt like a playoff game. Libby comes in. They go Soriano, Romero, and O'Brien. See you later. That felt like the playoffs, and the Cardinals had the upper hand in that contest. And as we know, in October, it is all about pitching. Here's a question in our comments about Nolan Gorman. How much more runway does Gorman need, says C. Ramirez. At what point does it end? Fair question. And at some point, you start to wonder, is this basically who Nolan Gorman is, Bernie? Is this just what we're going to be accustomed to seeing?
For the most part, yeah. But I would say, with all due respect, when we say, is it going to end, I assume he's talking about at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Not now. No. Because, basically, like the situation is, when Nolan Gorman, for whatever reason, when he plays third base this season in games, his numbers are outstanding. And his defense is well above average. But he for some reason, it's one of those weird deals. And last year it was the exact opposite. When he was the DH last year, his numbers were really good. This year, it's different. When he's playing third base, his numbers are really, really good. But when he's not, when he's DH, his DH numbers, frankly, are terrible. I don't understand why that is. But the point is, there's enough there. I would pleasantly throw out there, not trying to tell anybody they're wrong, because to me, it's an open-ended question. We don't have our answer yet. To me, what I see is a guy still doing enough things well, granted, with the flaws and all. I mean, this is a guy that still has driven in 22 runs this year, and he's come up big in some pretty good spots. And his defense is a plus. I don't see a reason, for example, to say, well, you got to make a lineup change. You got to get him out of there. For who? For who exactly?
Yeah, right.
I
mean, look at the Padres. I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr., what are they going to do? Take him out of there? I mean, he's going to play. The guy hadn't hit a home run yet. How about that?
Now, I know. And then amazing. So again, I'm not like I'm not the president of Nolan Gorman Apologist Club, because there's a lot of concerns. There's a lot of questions. You want to see him get on a much better track. But I think he's done a little more this season in a way that's positive that maybe people are taking note of. So, I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. I will say this, though. There's a really intriguing development, if you ask me, and it does involve third base, because the Cardinals have been playing Blaze Jordan at third base down in Memphis. And I had a note on this in my Friday column at STL Sports Central. Let me update it for everybody. Blaze Jordan, who has he came over in the Steven Matz trade, and Chaim Bloom drafted him in Boston. Blaze Jordan in 32 games this year, he's hitting .310. He's got a .365 on base percentage. He's slugging nearly .600. He's got 8 home runs, 10 doubles, and he never, well, I shouldn't say never, sorry. He doesn't strike out. Like he's only struck out like 17 times all season in 32 games. So this is a guy that just is not going to chase pitches. They're going to have to pitch to him. I find it interesting they're playing him at third base. You know, everyone can draw their own conclusions. If he continues to hit like this in Memphis, I have to believe, you know, everyone's looking at Jimmy Crooks. Bring him up. No. Tap the brakes. Pedro Page's defense is too important to this team. But if they're looking to shake something up, Blaze Jordan, to me, is going to be worthy of a look. And now, granted, he's not on the 40-man roster, and that could be a consideration. But keep an eye on him. That's all I'm saying.
Very, very good observation. Bernie, we appreciate it. Have a great Mother's Day, my friend.
And, hey, to Angie and your gorgeous mom, the two women in your life, but your daughters, too. They're not mothers, but they're daughters of a great mother, so that I'm going to throw them into the conversation. I hope they all have a wonderful day.
We're all going to celebrate, and you too. Thanks, buddy. Have a great day.
See you, buddy.
Thanks for joining us. Cardinal baseball today at 3:10.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I was just at Staples. They're having a huge 40th anniversary sale.
40 years.